what we as members are going to accept and what we as members are not going to accept. I mean, here we are, we're on Saturday night, and they declared a snow emergency. And, you know, it's not snowing outside as of yet, but I think that this has to do with the cold, it being very, very cold. Now, Stanley, can they do that to the whole point where there's no snow on the ground, but it is Arctic cold?
Well, they had some garbage about anticipation, right?
Okay.
And this was allowed to be put in later, but the
Right.
bottom line, the rule says is 3 inches on the ground supposed to constitute a snow emergency. Second of all, any changes to snow duty or how it's done or snow emergency, how it's done, that's contractually, that's got to be negotiated. You just can't change that on the fly unless your union allow you to do it. But anything having to do with a snow emergency, anything with snow, it's done contractually. So it has to be negotiated. So whatever changes and whatever they're trying to and trying to do, they're basically doing it on their own. I remember doing a hearing pertaining to snow duty, the last one last year, and they pulled out their snow emergency. They little piece of paper with defining snow emergency. And the first thing I said to the arbitrator that was there, I was saying, listen, this is what they wrote on their own. Okay, this is not an official document because snow, anything that do with snow has to be negotiated. You know, and they just can't take the words. Okay, they took a decision from an arbitrator, and what they did is put in the wording that they want that was to their advantage, and it has to be pointed out that this is what they wrote. They could write whatever they want, really, but is it contractual? It was it negotiated? No, so it's not legal. But you don't have you don't have representatives or anything sharp enough
It's going to depend.
to point that out, because
And
all
I'm
this
going to,
is about interpretation. All it is about interpretation and what is right and what is wrong. That's all it is. If you're not sharp on your game and you don't know what's been going on, you'll let a piece of paper slip by because it got the TA logo on it and a bunch of names written on it and signing off on it. But not like I said, when it comes to snow and how it's done and the definition of the emergency, all of that is negotiated. It's not just I wake up tomorrow and I want to change it to this, I want to change it to that. It has to be negotiated and voted on in a new a collective bargaining agreement.
Real quick, how is it that the MTA can get away with doing the things that they do?
Because they're not
How is
challenged.
it?
They're not challenged. You see, first, if you're intelligent enough, you could challenge them yourself and see how they respond to you as you being a union rep. And if and by their answering you on how they respond is it defines your next step, really, because let's say you're explaining it to them that they can't do it, and the management have bullying and an intimidating mentality about themselves. They don't care that they think their title is all about their title, and you just gotta listen to them.
yep.
And for all those that are calling themselves shop stewards or union reps, you're on par with management when it comes to a matter like this. You're on par with the president of transit when it comes to arguing on the behalf of the membership and representing the members. So they can't bully and intimidate you unless you allow them to. You see, so that's the difference. That's the
Good.
difference between them pushing something like, okay, I'm gonna just say this right quick because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah,
confronted with
go.
this.
We got
I
time.
got confronted with this last week. I got confronted with this last week. A kid had 9 months on the job. right? They were doing snow duty, 9 months on the job. And when they finished doing snow duty, some general superintendent told the supervisor to send 2 cleaners to his office and to remove some bags of garbage. Now,
No.
now this is the thing. The guy said, the cleaner knew about the fact that it was a snow emergency and he wasn't supposed to do regular CTA work, and he kept repeating it. So the supervisor turned around and went and told the general superintendent, which at the time he was telling the general, the general's boss came in at the same time, and she heard it. She turned around and told the supervisor, "Where's the cleaner at?" And he went and got the cleaner, and cleaner repeated the same thing. And because the cleaner saying that, basically they forced them to do it, and instead of them going by, well, he's saying this right because it's the rules. It just shows you how they're willing to violate your rights no matter what. Instead of just saying, yeah, okay, I understand which it is, and him being on probation too.
Right.
It would have been better off saying to the kid, you're 100% right about what you're saying. Okay, but you're on probation, and and this is simple, but grabbing a bag. Now, I would never exactly tell anybody to allow somebody to violate their rights, but down here they do it and intimidate you, and they put you in a position where you got to either you're gonna fight for your job or you're gonna lose your job. And supervision shouldn't be allowed to do that and get away with it. There is a law that does protect people from that, but in the meantime, you're taking a shot with a probationary person, and is he willing to fight that fight? Because that's going to be a hell of a fight.
Charlie, what you
So
say?
so
Charlie, what you say?
go
About
ahead,
snow
Charlie.
duty?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, let Blocker answer, and then I'll answer.
Well,
Block
me
what?
myself, I would have explained to him this is snow duty. We're not doing that.
Yes.
Because I don't want to be here at snow duty, but since I'm here for snow duty is about snow duty. It's not about the stations. I had to try to explain that to somebody one day, and I was coming in on a snow duty. He gonna tell me he did the garbage for me. I said, I just looked at him and I was getting ready to say something, but then the conversation changed. But I got a text today about snow duty tomorrow, but tomorrow's my second RDO because in the rule and regulations book it says your second RDO you don't come in. So see, I wish I was there though, because see,
Yeah.
I'm willing to fight. I got into
Yeah.
it with a GSM the other day because I jokingly said, why don't you pick up a shovel and see what it is that we go through? She caught an
Mhm.
attitude, pulled me in the office and said I was being disrespectful. No, I wasn't. I'm telling you to come see what we do. Instead of standing down there watching, come see what we do. You know,
Mhm.
I need to be honest about this because see, I'm a pit bull when it comes down to certain stuff like that. I just jot it out. You know,
Mhm.
I don't curse. I say it respectfully. Why don't you come on over here and see what we do instead of standing over there looking at us? Other than
Mhm.
that, go in your office. Go in your office and sit down and do your paperwork and make sure my check is right when it's time to be paid. That's just how I come off on them. I do
That's good.
say that. I'm not going to deny it.
Mhm.
You know, just make sure my check is paid. Come watch us. Come help us out instead of standing there watching.
Charlie, what you say?
Well, let me just tell you about today. Today, there was a notice that, and it was on Facebook, and I'm gonna name names. Nilda Lund posted up that there was snow emergency, and then later on she backtracked after some people thought, I'm sure not everybody has Facebook, but But anyway, she backtracked and said that Kelly said that you don't have to do overtime if you don't want to, that it's voluntarily. So if you don't want to, but anybody who comes in after 3 o'clock, they have snow duty. There was a mix up there for a certain time, and this is the problem. That directive should have came from Kelly himself. He is the VP of stations. Nilda is just a union rep, but she wants to be the spokesperson. And I mean, I give her credit. She did come back and apologize on Facebook for making the mistake, but the damage was already done. I mean, once we can't be on the phones. So if you saw that one time, then you reported for snow duty, and you didn't have to. And that's a problem with this administration. There's no communication at all, and it's been a 3-year problem. But hopefully we'll rectify it when we get voted in December.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's not just the snow duty. We have a much larger problem that's going on right now. We have what's called assaults. The bottom line is that there is a wave of violence that's rocking the subway system. The situation is that what are we supposed to do as employees and things of that nature? Charlie, take it.
I work on the A line. I work on 168 and 175. At 181, which is the next station, there were 2 stabbings last night. There was also a stabbing 3 stations away on 207. A homeless lady was killed. There's a serial killer out there. Okay. Not enough police. Today, I finally saw some police officers around there, but their hands are tied, so I can't blame them when they can't make arrests. You know, everybody wants to blame the police, but I'm sorry, but I can't do that. I blame Mayor de Blasio. I blame Governor Cuomo because the police haven't been given the resources. And all of a sudden today, I mean, coming home just now from work, I read in the New York Post that they're gonna bring 500 cops. Didn't we hear that last year?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what happened to the first 500 cops?
Yeah, what happened? The other thing is that the union came out and they're in agreement with the 5 ADAs in all 5 boroughs about pressing the issue. I guess spitting on people is a priority now for the union. This administration, the Samuelson-Utah administration, has been around since 2010. Why didn't they fight that in 11 years? Why all of a sudden? Is it because, are they scared because they see the momentum coming from other slates during election time?
It's a tsunami. I'm telling you, what's about to hit this union is going to be unheard of because people are pissed off.
Tony Utano came out and said, we average 200 spitting incidents a year. So you're telling me that you've been knowing this, that's been happening for years, 200 spitting incidents a year, and now you're coming and you want solution? Where were you? You've been there 40 years. 40 years you've been in this unit, and now you're coming and saying, oh, we have the 5 district attorneys on board. Well, let me just tell you about one district attorney, which is a district attorney in the Bronx. When our conductor brother, union brother, Donnell Jenkins was stabbed, Utano didn't even show up to court, okay?
Yep.
That's one thing. He didn't even have a press conference regarding the stabbing of this gentleman. And it's a shame that he couldn't get union members to show up to court. That's how much power either he wields or doesn't wield, because that courtroom should have been packed, that we should have been there protesting. We should have held that district attorney feet to the fire. And that's something that they dropped the ball on. And they're going to continue dropping the ball on. This is a political ploy. This news conference that they had the other day, it's a political ploy. And it was just another photo op.
Well, I can tell you right now, you're absolutely correct about that. But I can tell you who was there. Me and Staley, we were there. And I'm telling you, it was very, very heartbreaking. We were in the courtroom when the gentleman, Walter Rivera, was set free. He tried to kill the conductor, Donnell Jenkins. And Staley, give me an insight on that, because where I was at, you basically was a little bit on to the side and you saw exactly what's going on. And give us an insight of what you saw from the view of inside the courtroom, sir, because it was really, 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 I mean, the cops came in and I mean, it was almost like they were afraid that we were going to jump this guy. Staley, Staley, just want to give it to me, sir, go. It was rough.
Well, what happened is like they negotiated a deal. The union was along with them, along with the conductor, standing outside of the courtroom. They came outside and they discussed it. I think it was Phil what's that guy? Phil,
Pete Donahue.
Pete Donahue,
yeah.
yeah. Him and one of the assistant DAs or whatever, and the brother, the conductor. And they came out there and they did a convincing story selling him on the fact that, you know, that they couldn't get the maximum on with this guy and so forth, and that we needed to come down, that he needed to understand that they're going to get the best possible deal that they can, which was really a slap on the wrist to me. And this brother had took a couple of, when he would cut a couple of times, and stabbed a couple of times. And that meant literally nothing, because they came out, minimized the issue, and basically gave the guy a plea deal, and basically let the kid go. Saying that, well, he said he had cancer or something like that, and
Yeah.
you know, he acted erratic and all that on that particular day, and you know, this is the best thing for the guy to do, was to, you know, to let him go and let him get treatment and all of this stuff. This is how they sold the story to the conductor, and he relented. He accepted it.
Let me ask you a
But
question. Could he have done something more than instead of taking this? Did he have an option to do something else?
well, okay. Now that, you know, the union being behind him, I'm sure if he would have did anything other than that, they probably wouldn't have supported him.
Right.
He
Okay.
probably wouldn't have the support of the union. So he was in a hell of a spot, you know, because you had the union that was willing to compromise, and
Right.
here it is, you're the one that took all the pain, and you're the one that, you know, was stabbed and
Right.
everything, and you feeling a certain way. You know, I want him to go to, I want him to go to jail, and basically you have to back off with the way you feel, because you're being told on both ends of the stick by the DA, assistant DA, and the union to allow let this process, you know, let the guy get some treatment and all of this. He was acting erratic, whatever the story that they sold on him, you know. But I was in earshot to hear that, you know, they were basically giving a guy a slap on the wrist. You know, what about, okay, the same way you was talking about the guy had cancer or whatever else.
Right.
Okay, you got EDP, and you know, the EDPs running around here. Something wrong with them? Y'all
Right.
ain't negotiating the deal with them. If they come up there and they bust you upside your head or something while you working, y'all negotiating deals for them, you know? So that's all I'm saying. You know, the crime is a crime, and it should be the penalty should be whatever it's supposed to be, and it should be handled just as it is. But like
Right.
I said, when it comes to us, it's a totally different thing when we walk in a courtroom. You know, it's
Go, Charlie.
almost like there's no respect for us.
Let me
need to
point
speak.
out that in every subway car that you're in, it says assaulting a transit worker, you risk 7 years
Up to.
in jail, up to
Up to.
Oh,
7 years in
wait.
jail.
Can I say
This,
something right quick,
this
Go.
yeah,
Charlie?
yes.
There's fine print under that says you supposed to laugh after that when you read that. You're supposed to start laughing because we know it ain't gonna happen. Now go ahead, Charlie.
Go.
Yeah. So up to 7 years, but yet this stabber who tried to kill Brother Jenkins got nothing. Or I think he got probation. And if he can't cancer, who cares? He tried to kill another human being.
Exactly.
An innocent man who was just sitting on the bench waiting for his tour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a slap in the wrist. And this DA, the DA in the Bronx, is one of the people who supposedly is in agreement to try to make, and it's not even a felony if you spit on somebody. That's the problem. So it's just going to be a misdemeanor. Which what's a misdemeanor? Nothing's going to happen. Okay.
Well, you know, go ahead.
An assault is an assault. Period. Whether it's first degree, second degree, or third degree. But to make it a misdemeanor, I mean, it's bullshit.
Well, you know, in our department, the stations department, because this is who we're really talking to, the newest thing that they have now is that Neil DeLunt, who is the spokesperson for the leadership, and don't know how she self-proclaimed her that, but Kelly and Derek aren't speaking. But Neil just said, how are we supposed to move if we can't participate? The station's leadership could not handle snow duty, and now they want, their latest action is to basically have the members let them know about their assault. I mean, what is that going to do? That is the equivalent of lunch schedules, lunch reliefs in a G2 binder to present to the MTA. Okay, I do not understand their strategy because they're not letting anybody know. Charlie, what you say?
It's a joke. I mean, like you mentioned, it's similar to a lunch relief where they went with a binder to management, and management just laughed it off and said, well, we're taking the lunch release jobs. You know, don't waste our time with these binders. If they would have gotten the public involved, you know, the one thing that this union doesn't do, they don't capitalize on getting the public involved in anything. I mean, if we're being spit on or we're being assaulted, make it public. But no, they decide to keep it quiet. So now the public is scared because now you got this lunatic killing people, stabbing people. You know, I mean, but what about when we get hurt and injured? I mean, I'm a transit worker. You guys are transit workers, and when we see another transit worker, we feel safer on the station. So imagine how the public feels when they see us. I mean, with their eyes, you know, we're protecting them. And we should have if we're protecting them, we should have protection as well. And we're not, because when this union is so disassociated with the public, I don't know why they do that. I just can't figure it out.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know, the MTA has pleaded with the mayor to provide additional mental health resources and more policing. Maybe now that people are being stabbed up, that maybe that'll happen, because now we're hearing they bringing another 5 additional cops on. But let us also be reminded that the school kids will be returning pretty soon, so they gotta get these assaults under control, because these kids are gonna fight back. It's gonna get very, very volatile. It's gonna get very, very volatile. The city is full of homeless and mentally ill. Instead of the governor and the mayor doing the right thing, they are wasting taxpayer dollars, and this waste is causing problems, and the problems are coming to the subway system. Stanley, what you say?
I agree. I agree. It's a serious problem. We have more homeless in the system than ever before, and like the American Civil Liberties Union says, these people have rights. So it sort of handcuffs the police as well. When the police can't just literally throw them out into the street, they have to offer them, you know, placement in shelters and stuff like that. And a lot of them don't want to go into these shelters, you know. So, and they rather just stay on the street until that time when they finally snap. It's like a walking time bomb. When they snap, then all of a sudden now everybody want to pay attention. At that moment, they want to pay attention to what's going on. And then after it's over and it fade away, it's wait to the next incident. And once the next incident happens, it's the same thing all over again. So I think they should put some definitive protocol into place that protect, especially the workers, because they gotta work around this, and you never know when somebody's gonna come up behind you, you know, or from the side of you and just strike you. You know, there was an incident just recently with a bus driver got hit with a 2x4 or something like that.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, that's crazy. First thing, if I see you, I'm pulling up to a bus stop. I see you standing with 2x4. You ain't getting on my bus. You can forget that. You're not getting on my bus because you standing at the bus stop with 2x4. First thing. So, but I'm just saying it's something serious, and until they gotta, it's hard to control. But I'm sure there are measures that can be put in place. They're way better than what it is now, where everybody is just a sitting duck waiting to be assaulted.
Blocker, let me ask you a question. What should the CTA do, the precautionary measures, when they're on that platform? What should they do, sir?
To be honest, you got to protect yourself. To be, as far as being a union member, I want to go home at the end of the evening every day, just the same way I come to work. I've been confronted by some of the homeless. I talk to them to a certain extent. And I also let them know I'm going home. Do whatever you're going to do. Just don't make a mess. A lot of them respect that, but still, I'm human. My family expects me to come home at the end of the day. I got a dustpan and a broom. I will defend myself by any means necessary.
Thank you.
I make it
There
clear.
you go.
I make it clear. Don't mess with me and I won't mess with you. But I'm also always aware of my surroundings. I don't go in the back. I done seen numerous cats using drugs, shooting up. They done did something on the street, come running through the train station, hop the turnstiles. I pay them no mind, because I ain't got nothing to do with me. Long as you don't mess with me. Because at the end of the day, I'm going home. And I'm not going to say nothing to incriminate myself, but I will protect me.
Charlie, what you say?
I agree with Blocker all the way. I mean, protect yourself. Worry about the consequences later. I'm sorry, but that's the way I think. If somebody assaults me, I have to defend myself. I don't have time to think and say, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't fight back because it's against the rules. Well, sorry, I'm gonna break that rule because I have a family, they depend on me, and I got grandkids and they want their grandfather coming home. So whoever assaults me, well, guess what? You're gonna get it back. And
Now,
I'm not gonna. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna. You touch me, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. It's that simple. And I'm saying it straight out there. So if you ever hear, yeah, that cleaner, he beat the hell out of that homeless guy, he should get fired. I'm gonna admit it. I'm gonna say, yeah, I did beat the shit out of him. Why? Because he hit me first.
He deserved it.
That's it. That's it. And I'll take the penalty later on. I don't care.
Well,
At the end of the day, it's come. Like Thomas said, at the end of the day, we gotta go home. We gotta go home. And
they also got a saying: I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Sarah Feinberg, she wrote a letter to the mayor, and she stated that the individuals are being rejected from the system only to return when the police leave. Now, maybe when they have these influx of the cops, that maybe they'll be able to be out for good. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting.
I'm glad you brought up Sarah Feinberg.
Oh, yes.
Because the other day she had a town hall meeting. Okay. And I couldn't make it because I was at work, and I have yet to find
I was at work too.
I have yet to find anybody who actually attended that. And you would think that if the union did attend it, they would have recorded it or put up a statement or something, and nothing. They don't put nothing. So I don't think anybody attended that damn thing, which says a lot.
The blind. They want to keep you in the blind.
Yep. I don't understand why you have see, I think what's happening now is that they're trying to do damage control because a lot of the members are becoming more vocal against the MTA and the things that they're doing. So they're trying, because they've never done this, to the whole point of having Zoom meetings and say, let's reach out to the employees and hear their comeback and feedback. Go.
Yeah, let me just, I have to mention Sarah Feinberg again.
Go ahead.
They came out, her and Patrick Foy came out and said that they're raising the bridges and tolls
Yes.
7%. Okay, because the MTA subways and buses are losing $5 million a day. Hey, geniuses, guess what? If you get money in the booth, you get the freaking cash that you need. Wake up.
Yep. Yep.
Jesus Christ, how dumb can you be?
Yep.
Oh my God.
It just
You can't
it
make
just
this shit up. You can't. You can't make this up.
You just can't. It boggles the mind.
But from what I understand, from them closing the stations down that night, that costing them $5 million as well.
Yes.
From keeping the
Because
station,
the train is still
shutting
running,
down
but no
that way.
passengers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
It's
how does that make sense? I don't understand. And they said that the trains are shut down so they can clean them. But isn't that why we have car equipment, that they clean the trains at the last and first stops? That happens during the day too. So they contradicting this. I just don't understand. Same thing with the benches. They removed the benches. Sarah Feinberg again, she's my punching bag today. Sarah Feinberg, she claimed that the benches were taken out so they can be cleaned and new ones will be installed. Huh? You can't make this shit up. And does the union question it? No, they don't question anything. This is the shit that pisses me off. And I'm sorry I'm using foul language, but damn, I just get so freaking annoyed. You know, we're not dumb. Stop treating us like we're dummies.
This is our show. Speak just how you feel, because that's just how I feel most of
Oh
the time.
my God. Drives me insane.
I mean, it's like they're peeing on our leg and telling us it's rain. Another
Good
video
analogy.
surfaced. Another video surfaced to the point of like I saw the video, and I'm sitting here going, "Is this guy for real?" Witchard put out a video, and in this video, like in all of his videos, he's never challenged. But at this particular point, he's talking to a bunch of transit workers, and he's telling them, you know, you got to take the vaccine. You don't want to die. So many of our brothers have died. You know, I've done the data and the research and this, that, and the other. So many of our brothers have died. You don't want to die. You got to take the vaccine. Before I begin mine, Charlie, what do you think about this whole point of
Thank you.
go?
Thank you, because I was biting my tongue when you just mentioned Richard's name. Okay. Let me tell you, Richard doesn't have a PhD. So for him to come out with that bullshit statement just annoys me.
Yeah.
He was using race and he was using fear in that video, claiming that the white man is doing better, not getting sick because of the problems, the black and brown people, that they're not eating right. And first of all, I suggest that he go look at the data and see who's getting sick the most, okay? It's the poor mostly, okay? Because we're in confined areas, unlike the rich white people, okay? And they're actually getting the vaccine more than we're actually getting it. Do we trust governments? I personally don't, okay? We have read some horror stories in the past. I don't believe, like, for instance, the first vaccine was for COVID-19 was created by a company called Moderna. Moderna is a 10-year-old company that has never produced anything. Yet they got millions of dollars from the government.
Millions.
Now, let me ask you something. Would you give anybody $10 million? More than $10 million, millions of dollars to produce something that they never produced? Let me just also point out, Johnson & Johnson, they came out with a vaccine that hasn't been approved yet, but only 66% of the people tested, it actually worked on them. The other 34%, it didn't, it failed, okay? GlaxoSmithKline, and there was the other, and Merck, okay? Two huge pharmaceutical companies with unlimited resources couldn't produce a vaccine. And you're telling me I should trust a vaccine from a 10-year-old company that never produced anything? Sorry, I'm not a sucker, I'm not taking it.
Anthony Stanley, what you say, sir?
Well, I'm sort of in agreement with that, but if he wanted to quote figures in one of the and I think it was the Moderna test trials, right? over 80% of the people that were used in that trial were white people, and only 20% was a combination of people of black and brown people. And there was a young lady on Channel 7 that she was speaking on it, and she was trying to convince her co-worker, one of the anchors that on the show, and he was black, that it was all right that, you know, for him to, you know, to take it, to try it. But my thing is this: why would you take a chance on something that wasn't really done for you in the first place, because you had minimal people of your race used in the trials, and like the woman said out of her own mouth, she said it was 80%, and she was white herself, and she says it was 80%. She said with very few people, Indian or blacks, or a combination of Hispanics, or and she was only 20% combining all of these races together, but it was 80% people, white people that were used in the trial. So my question is, why would you want to take a shot that chance at that? Because that basically was telling you that this ain't for you. We didn't work hard enough to find out how it would react on you, but we worked hard diligently to find out how it worked on, the people that, they chose.
Yep. Mr. Blocker, what do you say?
I say, I'm leery about it. I have a number of health professionals in my family. One of them happens to work at John Jacobs Hospital out in Maryland, the Cancer Research Center, where they doing a number of different series tests. See, y'all more educated on the statistics, and I watch the news a lot. So when I'm listening to the news, they're also talking about zip codes, people of color, people of poverty. We're not getting that vaccine. But New York City Transit, I got a phone call a couple of days ago talking about getting a shot. Also that they trying to, how can I say, not insist, but encourage with 2 more hours of pay. They're trying to encourage you to take the shot with 2 extra hours of pay for the first shot and 2 extra hours of pay for the second shot. So I know in history when they pumped that syphilis, I forgot the name of that test. They tried to give us syphilis.
Tuskegee. It's Tuskegee.
Tuskegee, when the Tuskegee experiment. So now you want me to trust you with something that just was created. Like cancer been around, AIDS been around. Come to find out, AIDS been around since the early 1900s, way before it was ever existed, because they never even knew what it was. So, but now you want me to trust you. But I know if I keep taking my vitamins, because I do eat right now. I eat right now. I eat my vegetables, I take my vitamins, and I drink plenty of water, and I flushes my system at least every 90 days. Because I just don't trust everything I'm being told. You know?
Well, go ahead, Charlie.
Let me just point out that I was reading where 12 million people in the US have been vaccinated, okay?
Right.
There's 300 million people in the US. In order to get those 300 million people vaccinated, it's gonna take 5 years, okay? At the rate they're going, it's gonna take 5 years. So this virus is gonna be around a long time. And there hasn't been that many deaths. I mean, compared to other types of viruses or diseases. So it's deadly to some. I'm not gonna lie. It's deadly to some. It's not deadly to others. So I think that it's just they're playing on our fears, and I refuse to buckle down, to fear. As you know, I'm a 2-time survivor of COVID, and I'd rather take my shot. I'd rather take my chances. My chances with COVID than take it with a vaccine, an unknown vaccine. I don't put foreign substances in my body.
I'm glad you said that, because I have been called the person who was an vaccine type person. I had this conversation this morning. I am not anti-vaccine, but I am pro-truth. And in the beginning, when this whole thing started, there were 2 doses. Now, all of a sudden, Johnson & Johnson is looking to have 1 dose. And if we wait a little bit longer, it may be a patch or it may be a pill. This is why I say we must wait, okay? I know the history between the medical establishment and Black people. Let me be clear. No Black person wants to die. And when I say Black, I am including Blacks, browns. I'll just be very clear. No non-white person wants to die, but no non-white person wants to be a guinea pig. 1/3 of my people will not be taking the vaccine. The current medical establishment has put emphasis on expedience, data, and experimentation, not human life. I'll say that again. The current medical establishment has put their emphasis on expedience, data, and expectation. I said the word wrong. And not human right, and not human life. Black people are very skeptical because the healthcare system has fallen short when it comes to Black people. And I'll be very, very clear when it comes to non-white people. So when some well-meaning non-white people say, take the vaccine, you don't want to die, you need to do your homework. You need to take time and you need to do something that you normally don't do. You need to think. You need to think before you put something in your body. Anthony Staley, what you say?
I agree with you on that. I think, everything is not for everybody. A lot especially when it comes to myself. I do a lot of natural remedies, and I don't take prescription medication at all. And I had my doctor for over 25 years, and he agrees. He agrees. Whenever there's something or he thinks something is coming on and that's going to be a problem, he'll tell me about it, and I would tell him, listen, give me 2 weeks, reschedule me to come back in 2 weeks and run the same test. And if it's still there, I'll try the medication. But in the meantime, let me just try what I naturally do. And he allows me to, and which is cool with me. But it's not for everybody. Everybody, you just can't. And that's the reason why I only have one doctor, is because I don't want all these different doctors with different opinions talking about, messing with my body, and one telling me this, another telling me that. No, I don't have that's not that's something I had wanted to avoid for a long time, especially when I came down in transit, because of the different types of, the different stories I heard about different types of diseases and sicknesses from the ear
Still
down
does.
here and so
Still
forth.
does.
So yeah, so I have my doctor, and I keep one doctor. He knows my body. If he refers me to other doctors, and whenever they do, they send him a copy of it and let him know this is this. So I'm happy with my situation here, but I'm not gonna let nobody come in and all of a sudden just change it on a whim. I want you to be more professional, more accurate with your data, and yeah, and be more honest when you're talking about, when it comes to us in particular, Black folks, because we're not built just to take any and everything. It's just not. It's not like not for us. Those
Well,
that are willing to make the sacrifices, I'm not knocking them, but I'm telling you just what I'm doing as far as myself concerned.
Well, let's include the Latins. I hate the word
Yeah,
Latinos. Include
yeah,
the Latins in there because
yeah.
a lot of us are
Um,
poor and they think we're dumb, even though we're U.S.
mm-hmm.
citizens. And
And there you go.
I get offended easily when if you want to talk about um, Hispanics, I get offended when they're in a negative light. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we're not
Yeah, they
dummies,
put
and
they pull us all. Yeah, they put us
yeah.
all in a negative light, and and if we allow them to get away with it and not call them out on it, they'll continue to do that to us.
well, this thing is coming down to one person, the governor, and his name is Cuomo. Charlie, let me ask you a question. Why does this union keep on supporting Governor Cuomo? How much of our union dues have went to this guy? Right now, the latest news is that the governor is about to take money from the railroad system and to use to whatever he has to do. Talk to me, Charlie, go.
Tell the truth.
It's not the first time he's done that. Remember, he took money to fund some ski resorts a couple of years ago.
Yes,
from
yes,
transit.
yes.
Yeah, so he has a habit of doing these things.
So in essence, we are his personal ATM machine.
Yeah, and the thing is that our union leaders stay quiet because in the 2014 contract, a lot of people don't know this, but I mentioned it a few times. The union received $6 million.
Wait, hold on. In 2014, our union, local TWU, local 100, received how much?
$6 million. They received in 3 increments. In 2014, 2015, 2016, they got $2 million a piece. Okay, so it adds up to $6 million.
Did you get some of that money, sir?
If I did, I never saw it. It was disguised, but I never got it. Nobody did. It was for union purposes, which was the reason that was given was, and I can post it up too. I have the clip.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I have posted it up before and I'll post it up again. To cover union expenses, whatever that means.
$6 million for union expenses. Where they going? They got trips to Mars and the moon and all this other stuff. $6 million.
I have no idea. Don't forget, this union rakes in over $30 million from its members. And what have we received over the years?
Okay.
I mean, $30 million.
All right, hold on. Those numbers, are they correct, accurate? We can look them up. $30 million.
Yes.
$30 million.
Over $30 million a year.
Over $30 million.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you can do the math. You don't even have to look it up. You can do the math. I mean, 45,000 members times the dues, and then times 12.
Yes.
So I mean, not times 24 because it's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So you could do the math. But I can produce. It's called the LM2s. You can always look at them. Go to the Department of Labor, and you can pull it down and read exactly where this money's going. Okay.
LL2s, you said?
LM2s, Larry Michael 2, number 2.
Yeah.
And it's on the Department of Labor website.
Staley, what does the LM2s actually show us?
Well, it basically shows the expenditures for the union for the year or the quarters or quarterly. It shows you the expenditures. It tells you who get paid, who makes what. It just tells the what you call it, the payroll for
how many steak dinners they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could any member have access to these LM2s?
Yes, they are, because that's what that the LM stands for labor management,
Okay.
meaning that that's accessible to you have a right to know what your union doing with your dues money. So a lot of people don't realize that that's for their benefit, to see what the union is doing with your dues money. Are they spending it in your best interest, or is it just in their best interest?
Charlie, if I'm a union member and I want to go see the LM2s, what's the process? I go to the labor board?
You go to the Department of Labor website. Okay. Right. Do a search for Local 100, TW Local 100. And there's four different downloads. I mean, you can look at expenditures, you can look at salaries, you can look at, for instance, you can look at how much they're paying for that union hall. You can see how much they're spending on transportation, on these meals that they have. I guess they're writing off meals. But you got to see some of these meals. I mean, $6,000 in one day. Who can eat that much? you know,
The way
parties
some
that
of
they
them as
have.
fat as some of them look, they look like they done ate $8,000 worth of
So let
shit.
me
You
ask you
know
a
about
question. If you are a member of this union and you're looking to vote for a candidate who's already in office, it would be it would be good for them to go check out the LM2s to see what these candidates have done with the money that they've received, which is our union dues, correct?
Mhm,
Correct.
mhm.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
Blocker, what you say?
no, that's something I just learned something because I never knew all of that, and I also knew that they do they take their trips. They go to
Right.
a number of places for conventional trips, and then
Yeah.
they do
Mhm,
get credit cards for spending money. See, I'm just
mhm.
learning all of that. I didn't know all of that.
Well, Charlie, let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. If it can be found out that they spent $5,000 or maybe $6,000 on a meal with a group of people that were not union members, is that a bad thing, sir?
It's not a bad thing if we're getting something out of it. The members are
Mhm.
being rewarded in some way. I mean, I can understand maybe going out with a politician, but a politician who actually helps us. Let me just point out a couple of things. This union has a habit of supporting politicians who supported Tier 6. Okay, and a couple of years ago, I posted up a list of politicians that this union supported who voted for Tier 6 or didn't show up to vote against Tier 6. And to me, that's a slap in the face because if I'm supporting you, you better support my members or I'm pulling my support away from you. That's
Right,
the way it should work.
right, right. Now, it is at this time that I always ask these questions. The participants that are here now, I need you in one full sentence swoop to talk to the stations department. What is your word to the stations department that they may begin the process of going forward? Not like we have the Holy Grail or anything, but I do know that people do watch this, and we like to leave one word for them to go forward. Charlie, we're gonna start for you. Speak to the stations department.
All right, stations department. If you whoever's been watching these videos know how strong us four and the others who are with us are. We're four strong-willed, courageous, intelligent individuals who have a lot of fight in us. We want what's right for the stations department. Unfortunately, we're not getting it, and I think it's time for some new, non-recycled people. Okay, because there's retrans and then there's recyclables, and we got to get off that because there's an old saying, which is don't let history repeat itself. And we have allowed that to happen too many times. We can't allow it to happen. Also, if anybody is interested, come on board with us. But if you have any questions, you need any advice, there's four of us right here, right now. You got our numbers. If you can't reach, if you don't have our numbers, you have our email, you have our Facebook, get in touch with us. I'm always willing to debate anybody, whether you like talk to me, whether you like me or disagree with me. I'm there as long as you don't, overdo it where you use foul language. I mean, I use foul language, but if you're gonna go overboard and say fuck you to me, well, I'm gonna say right back to you. So expect that, okay? But if you want to have a long conversation about how to fix or how we can all fix this department, I'm there for you. And so are these guys right here.
Thank you, Blocker. Word to the stations department.
Well, as for being a part of the stations department, um, you have to take care of yourself. You got to stop backing down. You got to stand up for your rights. You can sit back and keep listening in to what's being told to you because there's a lot of supervisors that like to lie to you. Um, it's already obvious that the union is not fighting. The current administration is not fighting for you because they're trying to get you whatever. They're allowing management to do whatever to you. And if you're going to accept that, just keep following them. Well, come follow us. We the new union here. Stand up for your rights. Find out where your money's being spent. Stand up for yourselves. Don't let yourself get assaulted, you know, because at the end of the day, the only person you can really look in the face, if you can't look yourself in the face, that's because you're not here no more. Stand up for yourselves. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Anthony Staley, word to the stations department. Go.
I would say to those that are interested in changing the current climate is number one, start participating and going to union meetings. Put yourself in a position to be able to run in an election and try to make that change that you're trying to see. You know, be a participant. Don't stand on the sidelines and just, you know, and depend on anybody else to defend you. The bottom line is that you need to step up, look for your, not just for your own interests, but for those that you may have, that are people down here that you may care about. You know, just go to union meeting, participate, and gather as much information as you can about being a shop steward or being a union rep or knowing the contract, knowing the rules and regulations, and that's the best way to protect yourself.
Agreed, sir. Agreed. I guess it's my turn. My name is Kenneth Murray, and I believe in revolution. At the end of the day, all we have is each other. And we have to, as union members, read our rules and regulations, and we have to follow them. That keeps management off of our back. But we also have to look at our contract. We have to begin to understand the things that the MTA are doing, they're doing based on the fact that we have a weak union station leadership, okay? The situation is very, very clear. You can only allow things if you allow them. We can no longer allow these things. At the end of the day, we must take a stand. And now for 3 years, we have sat in union meetings and watched this nonsense go down, and now enough is enough. So we are saying point blank, if you're tired, which everybody is, if you're done with the current administration, which a lot of you are from me talking to you, it is time to jump on board to get this train moving in a radical revolutionary way. Why? Because this is what it's going to take to get this department to the point where we are not a dumping ground. If you mess up in New York City Transit, in any department, they send you to the stations department. And if you mess up here, you're out the door. That should not be. Now, I understand the reclassification, but the situation is that it just should not be a dumping ground, okay? As we have all said from these videos going back to when we first started, we will debate anyone on any topic pertaining to the stations department. We are fearless and we understand what is at stake. We understand what needs to get done. Trust me, each and every one of us can get the job done. Why? Because we understand one thing. It is about the members being treated properly and fairly. Okay, so from this particular point, all we're asking for you to think about who you're going to vote for, and just to make sure that your vote counts. Just to make sure that your vote counts. Charlie, let me ask you a question. Is it possible that we can revitalize the stations department with a strong backbone to get them ready for what's going to happen?
Sure we can. Sure we can. There's a lot of, let me tell you, there's a lot of strong individuals out there. They just don't know how to organize or are afraid, or they just don't know who to talk to. That's why I said what I said before. I'm available to speak to anybody, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on by phone, whether it's by email or instant message, whatever. You know, I'm sure there's people that are fed up and they want change. They do want change. I hear it all the time. They just don't know how to go about it, or they don't know who to trust. There's a trust issue down here because they trusted the union and the union let them down. And once the union lets you down, really, I mean, you're paying these guys to do you a service and they're not doing it. So I can understand why people are so frustrated. But if we get together, the strong individuals, we can make the weak even stronger.
And I cannot say this anymore, but I'm going to say it until this whole thing changes. Members, you must come to the union meetings. You have to get the information firsthand from them that you can understand how much full of sugar honey iced tea they are. Because at the end of the day, you have to look at what they're saying. Try and ask a question, a hard question now, one that's going to make them answer, and see how they manipulate, go around, and then say, well, I just don't want to answer this question. We have to be able to hold them accountable. There's no reason for them to do the things that they do. Anthony Staley, let me ask you one last question because we got to go. If the members come to the union meeting and they do not get the answer that they're looking for, what should they do?
Well, then then they should take their own time and seek out the answers for themselves. Find out people that are willing to talk to them and be honest with them and tell them what it is, or either just do the research yourselves. I always tell people that they have the answers basically right there in your hand, and that's your telephone. They don't call these smartphones for no reason. They're the, you could Google stuff. There's various websites that I use to get my information from. I even use Google Scholar. There when it comes to issue on court cases and so forth. Cases on labor. You can find and get answers and see what what decisions were made in certain cases. So it's not like the information is not out there. If you can't get anybody that you feel you can trust, you could do it on your own. Look it up on your own. Take that time. In the long run, and pay bigger dividends in the future.
I agree.